Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of Crypto, Coffee and LoFi. Alright, so another day. The market is still clearly bearish, as I pointed out yesterday. Unfortunately, we didn't get any of the setups that I was waiting for. However, I did catch a quick short on Sol and SRM. So I want to show you guys these positions. So we are in a downtrend, so looking for bearish setups around the session opens. Looking for manipulation, okay? So we see a sweep above all of these equal highs here. Breaking below, that was responsible for taking the high. And seeing a decent drop off here. And then once we return to this zone, we form the exact same pattern again, right here. And then when we return, we hit the entry zone and then we drop off. So I took this for about 6R. Closing the position just above this demand zone here. Now, SRM. Now for today's episode, because the market hasn't really changed much, I think I want to go over exactly what a trend reversal would look like and what I think we would need to see before price continues back to the upside. Okay, so just quickly covering SRM. We had a bunch of equal lows here, a bunch of liquidity sitting below these equal lows, and then we start distributing into the equal lows. So if we can see our entry pattern around the session open, which we did right here, breaking above a high, then breaking below the low, returning, breaking above the high, and breaking below the low, right into all of those equal lows. Now, unfortunately, obviously, we could have held this for much more, but being conservative is always best, in my opinion. Taking 3 to 4R on a trade, you can't complain. Doge Bear. Still looking strong, finally breaking up above 100. Again, looking to take profit around 400. If we get another chance to accumulate below 70, 80, I'll take it. So looking at Bitcoin here. Where is it? There's no reason to be trying to long this on the higher time frames. For price to reverse to the upside, we need to take downside liquidity and then we need to reaccumulate. Okay, so before looking for any long positions, wait for all of these lows to be taken out, wait for some reaccumulation. Okay, and then you can look to get long. So even if we do see something like this, a break below these equal lows, followed by the bullish pattern. So if this is your first episode, I'm using one pattern to enter and exit all of my positions, one pattern to find accumulation and distribution. If you're interested in this, click the link in the description below, pick up a copy of the strategy. But we'll need more than one confirmation to enter. Once we get the first confirmation here, we still need to break all of this structure. Then once we break this structure, we need to return to this leg and then reaccumulate again. So this is really important, all right? Because even though we break below these equal lows and form a bullish pattern here, let's say that that happens. Okay, I will enter longs, but if we break above this high and start to redistribute, that isn't a good sign. We need to accumulate here, break all of the structure here, and then reaccumulate once we return into this leg. So that's what I'll be looking for on the higher time frames to kind of determine if price is actually reversing to the upside or not. But for now, until all of those lows have been taken out, I think we are due for some more downside. Now, let's take a look at what happens every time we take a key low. So here's a key low, here's a key low. Okay, here's a key low. We see some kind of relief bounce, all right? But then after we see that relief bounce, it's then followed by a sharp sell-off. So now that we've taken out this key low here, which I believe is the previous week's low. Yep. Now we've taken out the previous week's low around or just before the session open. So it would make sense for us to see a small retrace back into this zone here. Now I don't think we'll then come up and take the previous week's high. That's not what I'm trying to say. I think the most reasonable thing to happen now is for price to retrace. It doesn't mean that I'm looking for longs either. It just means if we do see something like this and then reaccumulation here on the retest, then I think the most reasonable target would be here. Then what I'll be looking for is redistribution at this zone. Now keeping in mind this is what I was looking for yesterday and we didn't get the retest into here. We just saw a further sell-off right here. Okay, so if we don't get the reaccumulation here and we start to sell off in this zone here, then we can look to just continue shorting into the next key low. Alright, but I think now that we've taken out the previous week's low, I wouldn't be surprised if we get accumulation. For the downtrend to continue, however, we need to retest this zone here and then continue to sell off. ETH. Yep, similar picture here for ETH. I was expecting, you can see by the drawings, a retrace into these zones before selling off, but we didn't get that. So now, we have these equal lows. This is where I think price is headed. I think we're going to take these out. So now that we have our target, and we know that price is distributing, and in a downtrend, we can look for retests of bearish levels. Then once we retest those bearish levels, can we distribute? Something like this. If we can get that, then we can look to short down into the equal lows. Possibly a scalp long if we can run Asia's lows and then reaccumulate on the retest. Okay, now let's take a look at this leg here, where we went wrong yesterday. But there wasn't actually a trade here. So even though we did sweep below the lows that I was expecting to be swept, we didn't actually close above here. And even if we did close above, once we returned, we need to see reaccumulation, something like this. So keeping that in mind, even though we may see a sweep of these lows followed by a break in structure, we do need to see the reaccumulation. And even if we do, I think we're just going to retest bearish levels and then sell off. So that's it for today, guys. Still looking for shorts. I think we're just retesting bearish levels. We may see a little bit of a retrace here as we've just taken out the previous week's low on Bitcoin. And a similar picture for alts. Doge Bears still looking good. Holding on to this until 400. All right, guys. Enjoy the rest of your day. Like, comment, subscribe. If you're interested in the strategy or the way that I'm trading, click the link in the description below. I'm going to be increasing the price of the strategy in a few hours, maybe until tomorrow. I hosted a vote in the chat and we had like 100 votes. Most people think that we should increase the price, the people that have purchased it. So if you're interested, click the link, pick up a copy. No worries, guys. Bye.